I'm currently traveling the world in a motorcycle, and couchsurfing has become a major part of this long-term plan because it allows me to stay pretty much everywhere without having to spend a ton of money in housing, like in hostels and Airbnb and such. I've been hosting people in my place in Ecuador for a while now, and I'm currently in my third experience as a guest in a little town called Antequera in southern Spain. I had the luck to be hosted by this lovely couple from Holland, and one of them was willing to share his story and how he's using couchsurfing as a mean to get to know more about his family history and heritage in Indonesia. So let's hear it.
Hi, my name is Elfin Moningka. I'm Dutch, but I don't really like Dutch, but that has to do with my roots. I have an Indonesian father and a Dutch mother, and I'm born in The Hague, but also grew up. I'm a Dutch boy. Lived there all my life, and well, after I retired, I changed from Holland to Spain, and I live here actually 20 years. And during that time, I discovered couchsurfing. And I really enjoyed that. Meeting couchsurfing enriched my life because that is a method, an idea that you can meet all kinds of people all over the world. And one of the important things for me is that I do some research in Indonesia about my family. So I'm very active in hosting, but also active as a traveler. And I do my best to find hosts, and if that will not succeed, I use Airbnb. Sorry, but I had to use it. I do my best to respond as soon as possible. For me, it's very important because people are hoping to find a host anywhere. It's my own experience that some people don't react anyway, and that it can be very disappointing and frustrating when you're looking for a host in a country far away. So I'm really active in responding to any request. How I find out about couchsurfing? When I was planning a holiday and were looking for some blogs or maybe vlogs, I found an article of Simon Rothsing about couchsurfing. And I was very curious about that. And well, I went to the website, and in that moment I was quite enthusiastic about it. Till now, I'm really very, very enthusiastic about it because the encounters with people all over the world, from if it is Argentina or Vietnam or Indonesia or even here in Spain, it's very warm, really. Yeah, I like it very much. And well, for me it's important the contact from face to face, the direct contact. I'm very interested in people, and that is one of the reasons. Well, I'm really fond of that, really, and I enjoy that. And it happens when I started, I think 2018 or 17, I'm not sure. But from that time, when there was a possibility to stay at a family or at a couchsurfer, well, I did all kinds of efforts to do that. So, well, for me it's not so important how long I'm active. The moment I meet people, it's for me joy to speak with them and to exchange life experience about what did you encounter in life, and what are the life lessons for me. All the things in life we can learn from that. And we human people all have the same goal. We're looking for a satisfying, happy life. And well, couchsurfing is one of the media to achieve that. For me, is that I start with hosting, because I have the opportunity to host people because I have a nice room. So I start hosting people And I remember, I think one of the first was a young guy from China, Chu Wai, a very tall guy. Well, normal the Chinese people are small, but he was tall. He was very athletic. He played basketball. Yeah, I remember that. I remember I picked him up from the railway station. Yes, I was one of the first. And then came a lot of people from all over the world. I remember a young guy from Belgium. He was cycling from Belgium all through Europe to here. And he was on his way to his brother. And his brother was working temporarily in, I think it was Ghana. So he had to travel the same distance from Belgium to here, to the west of Africa. And he has very little, he had a very small budget. And he prepared himself by, well, what he did was he took a special technical class to repair his bike on his way. So he's a technician for bikes. And he also wrote a blog. And he wrote down all the adventures and how he survived with very little money to reach his brother in Ghana. It was very, very impressive. Friends asked me, are you not afraid? You don't know the people in a strange situation, strange country. Sometimes you don't speak the language. Well, something is, I'm not afraid. I have no anxious about it. I'm very open. And with an open attitude, well, the doors go open. But, well, I'm not afraid of some situations. Well, on the other hand, I'm very flexible. I put energy in contact, keep in touch. The connection is very important. And that is my philosophy also. I try to find the positive energy of the other person. And I think they feel that. They don't know, you feel, it's a matter of energy. I can remember some situations of that I visited an island in Indonesia with rather aggressive people, and just by being myself and make eye contact and be open and friendly, people melt down and show their good intentions. I think as a couchsurfer you should be very curious and open, and if your personality is, well, that you are very intimate and shy, it's difficult to persuade other people to change that. You cannot not do it in one conversation. Far away, I was in the South America, in Argentina, quite a lot of times, in Paraguay, and mostly in Indonesia, because my roots came from there. My father is from Indonesia, and because I'm very curious about the culture. And it's very interesting because it's a huge country with a lot of islands, and all the islands have different languages. Interesting. So every time I go to Indonesia, that is at least one time a year, I go to Indonesia, and then I send some requests, mostly 10 to 12. And sometimes I'm lucky. I sometimes ask also just to meet people, not to stay at their house for a few days, but just to meet them, have some coffee, have a lunch sometimes. And those encounters are very interesting. Yeah. And usual, till now, most of them are very young, around their 20s, 30s. Really, I had a Canadian woman, and she was always, she was 65, and she was very glad that she could find a host that was not young, because I'm 78. Well, on the couchsurfing I lie, because I don't know what the effect is if I write down my real age, because 66 is maybe interesting, an old age, but not 78. But she was so glad that she could share something with a person about from the same age. It was Vicky. It was very interesting. Yeah, it is hard to find a host because my experience is that most people have an account on couchsurfing. I don't know for which reason. People don't react. Sometimes, mostly, there are just a very few people react, answer it. Couchsurfing like Facebook to, how you call it, to show themselves on the internet to make friends or something like that. But that's not the real intention of couchsurfing. Couchsurfing is to exchange international experience with all kinds of people. So yeah, I'm really a bit disappointed that it's not possible to, for example, skip all those accounts for people who didn't react or are not active for more than 1 year. And what I do is mostly not ask for a sleeping situation, a bed. Just at the first place, I ask them to meet them somewhere, and if they are able to show me their village, and mostly I got very nice reactions, and sometimes a very full description of the area. I see myself sometimes as a lonely wolf. I like to go my own way. So, Agnita is now my new partner.
Oh, okay.
Then we tie that, and we know each other now for hardly 18 years now. Yeah. But well, we often travel as well through Europe, and well, did a lot of mostly to Argentina. We've been there for 13 or 14 times, and we love the country. Yeah.
Well, you told me that you're traveling often to Indonesia, and you were an Indonesian. Are you going there to find some of your roots, some of the family history?
Yes, yeah, that's true. Because my father didn't very little about his childhood and his family, and well, I think that was normal. I don't know, but when my father passed away and I was adult, I was very curious about the family, the roots. So it's a really funny story. I had a name, a contact person who knew who knew my father in Holland, and I found that lady because I had the name by looking in the telephone book, and because I didn't speak Bahasa Indonesia, so with my dictionary I wrote some sentences, and there were 3 names in the telephone book, and the first one, well, I did my best, and the people react and say down. Then go, but the second was bingo. Was the lady, and she spoke always very good Dutch, and that lady could tell me a lot of things about the family, and that was very intriguing for me. And so every year I go to Indonesia to find, well, all kinds of interesting facts about the family. And well, I also discovered that there is a very big secret in the family, a real drama. Well, the drama is that my grandparents, so the parents of my father, they were poisoned. They were poisoned when he was very young, and he grew up in another family. And well, he never told that. My father never told about that history. That I can take a little distance about the tragedy, because what happened in the past happened, and well, we cannot change that. And so my sister and my brothers decide, no, we are not interested in whatever my father had herited in Indonesia. But it's an interesting story. So I tried to write a novel, and it is more or less a tribute to my father, because he did his very best to survive in Holland. He was not educated. He spoke the language very bad, and because of that my father was not educated and speak language, I feel a little bit ashamed about my father, and it gives me not a good feeling after all. Yeah, but now I feel a lot of respect to him, that he did all his best to raise his 4 kids, and this is very best that they could achieve a better life than himself. It's really great. Well, after he passed away, I think, wow. So, not only a shame, but so sorry that you could not be in good harmony and show your father that you proud about him, that you. But I could not see him when I was young. Yeah, I had other ideas, but there is another story behind that. Because well, it has to do also with the tragedy of the marriage of my father, because my father married a Dutch young girl in the last World War, and she was Jewish. And well, she lost all her family by the Nazis, who were killed by the gas chamber. But the problem between my parents was there were a huge difference of culture. My mother was a very young, lively Dutch girl, and my father, he was elder, I think 12 or 14 years elder. He came from Indonesia, had other mentality. He didn't understood the lifestyle of the Dutch people. And so my mother suddenly disappeared one day. And left my father with 4 little children. And it was a very hard time to survive, real hard. Yeah. Wow. 14 years ago, I wrote down a kind of autobiography about my life, what happens in my life, also as a kind of, maybe a kind of therapy. The man I am now is totally different than the man, well, 25 years ago. I was very disappointed, very angry to society, what happened to, well, but it's not the adult man who reacted, it's the child in me. The child in me was still angry. To meet people and to acknowledge that people all people are doing their best in their life. So the history of my history, or the history of my father, is the same history as anyone. Everyone has his personal history, small and big, whatever. Little tragedy, a lot tragedy. That's and most people, I did the same, are fighting against it because it's not fair what happened to you. That is your idea as a young child, and maybe so even as an adult. Well, you feel powerless, but well, one time you get some insights in life and you can change, and it is very important. So I think that I found love, real love, human love. Yeah, somewhere that has to do with my childhood. I always admired the Indians from South America. I felt myself like an Indian. I tried to live and to survive like an Indian. So as a young boy with my younger brother, we played always Indian. Climbing, sometimes did always very dangerous games. But well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.